I.C. One opening quick shot here as we welcome in the professor of political science at Pacific College, the one and only Glenn Antizzo. Good morning, sir.
Good
How
morning,
are you?
Paul.
Here's the quick shot here. I've never seen this collaboration coming. I think very few people did. It may be something that you want to put on your gift list. The collaboration features 4 shades of lip gloss that are supposed to taste like Applebee's wing sauces. So you never thought about this before you came in, did you?
No, it's funny you should say that. My wife absolutely loves Applebee's wings. So.
Oh, she will love this. I mean, anniversary present when it comes around next year, you got it, man. Here it is. You can get the creamy coral shade. It's called Get Me Hot Buffalo. Or there's a gold-flecked one in a deep red that's called Sweet Chili Kiss. Maybe she will like the golden glossy one that's Be My Honey Pepper, and the one that I would certainly suggest, might even try it myself, would be the smoky burgundy-colored lip gloss that is called Honey Barbecue Tea. There you go. I don't know if you can get the 6-pack. It would be a good idea. How you doing, sir? Welcome in. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it very, very much. Where do we even start here? I mean, it's answering the question, because it is a little bit perplexing of why she's going there, what can be achieved. My understanding was that it's been 13, 14, or 15 years since anybody at that level has scheduled a trip to Taiwan.
Actually, it's been longer than that. 1997, Newt Gingrich went. As far as I know, that's the last time somebody that high has gone.
Yeah. All right, now tell me your thoughts on this.
Well, I understand why she might want to go, but this is one of those things that I don't think I would have announced this. We have members of the administration in the past going to places like Kabul, Afghanistan, Baghdad, Iraq, for quick visits to either talk to local authorities or just give some reassurance to the troops that the folks back home are behind them, and it's done quietly. They go in, you don't even know that they're there until often after they leave. Announcing this early, especially when it's not even yet officially on the itinerary, I don't understand why that was done. But now that it's been done, unfortunately. And I think now the administration can't back down. I think that she probably does have to go because it looks really bad for the administration. You had the withdrawal from Afghanistan that was a mess. Then you had the lack of action that could have stopped Russia from going into Ukraine, leading to a 5-month-long war. And now you have this. And you don't want to appear like you're being pushed around by a totalitarian dictator in Beijing.
But did you say that some people in the administration do not want her to go?
Yeah, there are a number of people that don't want her to go. I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think the administration wants her to go.
No, I mean, that's what I thought. I heard that even Joe Biden doesn't want her to go.
Yeah.
So how are you an official emissary of or ambassador to the United States in that office as speaker if even the president and the head of your party doesn't want you to go?
Well, as I pointed out earlier, talking about Mr. Gingrich, the different branches of government are independent of each other, and so it is not unheard of for members of Congress to engage in.
Well, look, I understand that, except the party is united, and right now when the Democrats are bleeding and hemorrhaging, if we have an international affair now, and you hear war drums beating from China, it certainly as hell ain't going to help the Democrat Party anymore.
Well, part of why the drums may be beating as loud as they have is because Biden himself has been really unclear about American policy. In the past, we've had what was called strategic ambiguity. In other words, it's understood that we're going to back Taiwan. But exactly what we're going to do to back them has been left intentionally unclear. This dates back to when we switched recognition. the government that is currently in in Taipei, Taiwan right now, is sort of the legacy of the original government of China, the one that was there before and during World War II. Mm-hmm. After World War II ended, the civil war between the communists and the government resumed, with the communists finally defeating the nationalists in 1949 and the nationalists retreating back to Taiwan. We maintained that the island of Taiwan, which today has a population of like 23 million, was the official legitimate government of all of China, including the mainland, which now today is 1.4 billion people. And we maintained that for the longest time. In 1979, Jimmy Carter switched the recognition officially from Taiwan to China. The process started with Nixon, with the diplomacy that he started engaging in 1972 with the ping pong matches and all that. Mm-hmm. But that's the government that we officially recognize now. But both sides still maintain that they are the government of the whole thing. Taiwan says it's the government of all of China. The Chinese maintain that Taiwan is a breakaway province. Don't let that situation fool you. I'm speaking to the audience out there because they actually have very extensive trade ties with each other. My understanding is that there are about 1 million Taiwanese nationals that actually live on the mainland, and the situation is tolerated uneasily as long as nobody challenges the Chinese position that they are the official government of everything. Things have been going fine. So, there is a question as to why you necessarily would want to, given everything else going on in the world, why you would want to necessarily antagonize the Chinese. But on the other hand, now that it's done, now that Pelosi is said to be going, I don't know if the administration can afford for her not to go. I believe that the official position of the administration is that they support her going, but they're not sure that about the security situation, which is sort of trying to have it both ways.
Geographically, I think most of us who are laymen in this, we look at this like a lot like Russia, Putin, and Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And if China wanted to do what they're doing, they probably would get as much resistance. What are we going to do? Send money to Taiwan to battle them? Is that a fair comparison, or is Taiwan able to put up some fight at all, or is the geographics? I know it is because you've got some separation between the two. What's the difference in that comparison?
Well, I think that the comparison is. I think it's actually a pretty fair comparison, and I know that a lot of people, when Ukraine was invaded, were worried about Taiwan being the next domino to fall. Right. I think the difference is that the United States has made a more open statement. Or I shouldn't say the United States in general. I mean the United States under this president. There were no security guarantees to Ukraine. Ukraine was looking to get into NATO, but wasn't actually a member. There was no obligation for the United States to get involved. There is no treaty with Taiwan either. There is something called the Taiwan Relations Act, which when we switched over from recognizing Taiwan to recognizing Beijing, did not guarantee security in the sense of committing the United States to a military defense of Taiwan, but did commit us to giving them the means to do so themselves.
Is our financial, much like Ukraine when we come to bread and grains and things such as that, are we tied economically to Taiwan as much or more than we are Ukraine?
Oh my gosh, yes, and for reasons that I know we're coming up on a break. I'll be glad to tell you about on the other side.
That was a lead-in question there, wasn't it?
Yes.
I'm the student in the back that you paid to ask you the right questions. The good Professor Glenn Antizzo. We'll do that when we come back in just a moment. This is one smart audience out there, I'll tell you that. Live from the Trustmark Studios, people you trust, advice that works. Stephen Brookhaven, I'll explain Nancy's trip to Taiwan. It's simple. She's hoping to upset China into stepping in and doing something to limit the access to Taiwan semiconductor chips. That way, that $5 million investment pays the highest dividends possible. It's all about the money. Her husband and herself made a pretty big acquisition in the stock markets directing that right before that deal was done. And if that's not insider trading, I have no idea how you call it, but that's another topic. All right, let's get back to how much do we depend on Taiwan?
Well, you just hit on the reason. Taiwan makes something like 61%, I think, of the computer chips that pretty much everything relies on now, and they have about 2/3 of the market share. As a matter of fact, that's been one of the things that Taiwan has relied on for its defense, not just so that it can have some of the best weapons. Taiwan's got weapons that are at the level of Israel's weapons in terms of their ability to defend the country. China also needs those. Remember I said a moment ago that there was robust trade between the two. Some of it is that China gets some of these chips as well, and they need it, for their own industries. And anything that would, would potentially destroy the facilities where these things are made affects China.
We had a bill that passed last week with some bipartisan support, $52 billion chip bill in Congress, and how long would it take to do that here in America again? We used to do it before. I guess we gave it to Taiwan simply because of the cost and the expertise, or why do we rely on them for that? Do they have certain minerals that we don't have to do this?
That I'm not sure. I think a lot of it may just boil down to labor. You have a very, very highly skilled, workforce there. Taiwan has always been at the forefront of technology. I don't know if you remember this, but during the 1980s, there was worry, and this might also be in the back of China's mind, that Taiwan actually might have nuclear weapons. There were 3 pariah countries that were believed to be working together. Israel, because, just everybody dislikes Israel. South Africa, because of the apartheid regime. And Taiwan, because they were increasingly being isolated by the Chinese. It was believed that the 3 of them were working together, and that Israel and South Africa had the uranium that was needed, and Taiwan and Israel both had the technology that was needed. Now, it's never been revealed that Israel or Taiwan has these weapons. South Africa, when we transitioned over from the apartheid government to the democratic government that's there now, South Africa did admit that they had 4 operational nuclear weapons, and they got rid of them, and Southern Africa was declared a nuclear-free zone. Israel's believed to have about 1,000 of these things. Taiwan has always kept it ambiguous, and nobody knows for sure. And you can imagine that, as was alluded to in the movie Red Dawn, in some of the dialogue by Powers Booth, nothing would trim China's population from 1.4 billion back to about 600 million than a nuclear-armed Taiwan retaliating.
That would cut the customer base for a lot of American corporations, wouldn't it?
Yes. I mean, it would really. This would be a disaster for everybody involved. And I really, this is not just going back. There was a situation where this was sort of reversed in 1996. President Lee, the newly elected president of Taiwan, was coming to the United States to visit his and, by the way, my alma mater, Cornell, for an unofficial visit to just give a lecture on, I don't even remember what it was. China got upset about it. It did almost boil over into a confrontation. President Clinton sent a 2-carrier battle group to the Formosa Straits in order to separate Taiwan from China. But nothing ever came of that. The problem this time is that China's got much better weapons than they did then.
We used to have all these visas to take some of the brightest and smartest people from China or from Taiwan and bring them over here, educate them in American universities, give them citizenship, and they would become part of America. Now all we do is bring Chinese students over here, and they wind up being professors in liberal colleges. So.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you.
And spies, by the way. So.
Well, a number of large universities have those Confucius Institutes that are basically fronts for Chinese espionage in the United States.
And everybody knows it. Look, before we leave, I got to ask you this: good deal or bad deal? Grindr trade for the Merchant of Death.
Bad deal. I mean, I really
bad deal.
Yeah, no, I'd like to see her come home, but I mean, you're having a guy who basically is a functional terrorist that you're trading. This sets a bad precedent. I know it happens. You know, and there's a great line in the movie Spartacus where they ask one of the characters, who's a senator, you're going to trade with the Silesian pirates? And the guy says, if a criminal has what you want, you do business with him.
Bingo.
But the question is, how great is the price?
Well, and then they threw the Marine in here, so that kind of tempers it a little bit.
Right.
But I mean, it could be one or the other. But this guy, he's killed. He's a gun runner.
Yeah,
and his track record is so many people have been killed because of what he's doing and done.
A lot of the activity that's going on in civil wars in Africa right now have been armed by this guy. And again, I don't think it's a great trade. The guy is responsible for the death of Americans, as I understand it. And, again, it's unfortunate. It's very clear that Brittany Griner is being used as a political pawn by the Russians. And we should do what we can to get her out of there. But this might be too high a price to pay.
First of all, she should have known that CBD. My understanding was that it was a vial of CBD oil.
Yeah.
It wasn't even. It's not even THC, was it?
No, I don't believe so. But I don't know.
But I understand it's on their illegal thing. You can't have it.
Right.
So she should have known that. Number one. But number two, you probably can trump up a charge to any well-known figure from here on in to make some trades, and God knows it's probably been done before.
Oh yeah, think about the kid. I'm sorry that I'm blanking on his name. The kid that was in North Korea, the one who made the spring break trip and was arrested for allegedly stealing a banner. And Trump finally got him home, but the kid was within about an inch of his life and passed away shortly after returning to the United States.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Final thoughts, sir?
Well, I just wanted to say real quick that Biden had made a number of statements that seem to imply that we have a much greater commitment to Taiwan. Recently, in a response to a reporter question regarding American willingness to protect Taiwan with military force, Biden responded, yes, and follows up with saying that that's the commitment we've made. Well, we haven't. We don't have any treaty with them. He in August 2021, he promised that we would respond if there was an attack on a NATO member, and then added the same with Japan, the same with South Korea, the same with Taiwan. And at a town hall meeting a few months later, in August 2021, a kid asked a question about Taiwan. Anderson Cooper asked a follow-up question about whether we would use military force, and Biden responded, yes, we have a commitment to do that. I mean, so he said on a number of occasions something that goes beyond established American policy, and, he may have helped paint us into this corner.
We have arrived at a position where an American president is so close to dementia and with a lifetime of failure, even as bad when he was younger, that nobody pays any attention to what he says.
Yeah, his staff has got a full-time job pulling back in things that he says.
Yeah, I think somebody told me that within Washington, D.C., that he has a full-time person making sure that his zipper is up. And so far, I guess they've been pretty good, but I've never seen him when he's sitting down, though, but who knows. So always good seeing you, sir. Appreciate it very much. When's class resume over there?
Classes resume 3 weeks from today. I report back the week before that, but we've got a full slate: international relations, comparative politics, state and local government, and Southern politics. So if anybody's got kids and you want to education and political science, please send them there.
God, please, and just give them the facts. That's all we need. Is just if you take the facts and you don't come out at least worried more and more patriotic. I have no idea what happens. But how was your trip? Across the pond.
It was wonderful. My wife and I had a great time in Puerto Rico and St. Croix.
Did you? Good deal. All right. I thought I was mentioning England, but that was something else.
Oh, yeah, no.
And I probably have that confused with somebody else. But then again, I'm in the third state of dementia myself. So I'm only kidding. Thank you, man. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much, Paul.